We're going to be looking at a piece here that I've had for a few years. I did originally have it back way back in the early 80s. This was released, I believe, in 1983. I have a neat little story that goes with this one, as this guy, if you haven't guessed, is Green Lantern, and he is the single first toy that I bought out of my own money as a child. It is the Kenner Superpowers Green Lantern. And the reason why it's called Superpowers is because this is back in the day when toys weren't, it wasn't quite right to just have toys anymore. They had to start doing stuff. This was the birth, the dawn of toys that do more than just be a toy and just stand there and be an action figure. So as you can see here, when you squeeze his legs, his arm moves. He's doing his green ring, green power punch, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember exactly. But this one works quite well. His joints are still quite nice in terms of loose joints, which does happen with a number of vintage toys. This is one of my favorites, if not my favorite, from any of the collections of anything that I've ever had, and I love them. Of course, back in the day, things like articulation just weren't part of the vocabulary of toys. We'll put down the lantern here. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points of articulation, which is, by today's standards, an embarrassment. However, back in the day, it was quite good. Back in the day, you get the little Mego Pocket Heroes. They only had bends and movement at the head, shoulders, and hips. They didn't even bend at the knees. These guys here, they just look damn good on a shelf. They're bright, they're colorful. They don't look like they're trying to squeeze out a big poop, like most angry toys from this generation. I have another Hal Jordan who's a yellow lantern, and honest to God, I can't put him in a seated position on my toy shelf without having to snicker a little bit, because it looks like he's trying to poop, and it's having a lot of trouble doing it. Anyway, this guy here, he's true to the comics. He has great detail on the front and on the back. The musculature on these are quite good. You won't be able to put any weapons in this guy's hands, save for his little lantern here. But to be quite honest with you, you don't need it. He's Green Lantern. He can do whatever he wants. Kids don't think about things like articulation. I certainly didn't when I was 7, 8 years old. I just thought I had a really kick-ass toy. Another cool thing about the Green Lantern here is that this was the beginning of the growth of the toy lines that expanded beyond the basics of Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, Hulk. There's some A-list characters that have always been A-listers, such as those. I think there's a Wonder Woman in there. I've had them all in the past. I don't have them anymore. I've got a few of the newer line stuff. But back in the day, it was quite the deal to have a figure that wasn't Batman, Superman, or Spider-Man. And this was where this, for me anyway, this is where this was birthed. If you can find one of these things you generally go for $25, $35 on eBay. Finding them in package, of course, you're going to be spending hundreds of dollars on them. If you get them in a box, shame on you. I mean, yes, if you've got your collection and you're going to hide it in a closet so no one can see it, good for you. But these things are just really pretty. They got lots of bright colors. They're true to the characters. they stand easily without the need of a base, which is something that's really frustrating about many toys that are coming out these days. I've got a couple of Assassin's Creed figures that they just cannot stand on their own without a little piece of putty underneath their foot or having a doll stand. And what's the point of that? Like toys are meant to be played with and then stood up in poses and actions and such as that. And if your toy can't stand on its own, I mean, it just doesn't work. It's part of what it should be doing. So anyway, to conclude, this is Green Lantern. This is Kenner Superpowers. This is the ultimate 80s toy. At least it was for me. I'm going to give it a nice 11 out of 10. If there was ever such a grading scale for something so awesome, check it out. See if you can find one. They're all over eBay.